is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to Funnelheads. My name is Andrew, and today we're going to be discussing some of the best ways to interact and meet other guests before your cruise. But first, if you're new to the channel or returning and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, becoming part of our Funnelhead family. We'd absolutely love to have you. Liking, commenting, and sharing the video with friends and family helps the channel grow tremendously, and we really appreciate the time that it takes to do that. But let's get right into today's video. Now, the first great way to interact and meet other guests that are on your cruise is going to be the app Shipmate. Of course, you're going to want to download the app, create a username, profile, all that good stuff. But once you're through all of that, you're going to go to the My Cruises tab. Now, this is a really cool feature on this app because you can actually kind of go back in time and add all of the cruises that you've been on, throughout the years. Or maybe this is your first cruise. Great. You're going to locate, the cruise that's coming up, whether it's in a couple of weeks, a year from now, whatever the case is, add that cruise, Carnival, Royal, whatever the cruise line is, and then find the ship that you're sailing on, and then of course you're going to find the date that you depart. Once you do that, there's going to be a tab called Roll Call. Now, Roll Call is all of the other members on Shipmate that are going on your particular cruise, and that way you can start chatting with those members, adding them as friends, looking at pictures, sharing, different information. A lot of course, people have cruised before and gone to several different ports, so they may have suggestions or tips for you. It is a great app to just learn about the areas that you're going, the destinations, the ship itself, but also, again, to interact with the people that are going to be on your vacation. And I highly recommend you downloading this app before your cruise. Now, number 2 on best ways to interact and meet other guests that are on your cruise is going to be Cruisecritic.com. And if you've traveled before, cruised before, I'm sure you've come up on several articles of Cruise Critic. It is a very popular travel site, but it is also a great site, again, to interact with those guests. And what you would do is just create, your username, a profile. Now, once you do that, you're going to look for the boards tab on the top of the website. Click on that, find your cruise line, click Roll Call, then find the ship that you're going on, and finally the date that you're traveling, and that will take you to all of the other guests that are going to be on your cruise, and you can start interacting, asking questions, answering questions, and really just getting to know the people that are going to be on your ship. Another great way, and I highly recommend you doing each one of these. Now, number 3 is going to be Cruiseline.com, and this process is going to be very similar to the Cruise Critic process, but you're going to want to look for the Forums tab, click on the cruise line you're sailing on, find the ship you're sailing on, and then look for the roll call date, which is the date that you're leaving on your cruise. You can also start a discussion if you want to ask a specific question about the ship, places you're going, or just a general question. Another great way to meet people that are going to be on your cruise, get to know them, and just again answer or ask questions as needed. Now, lastly, number 4, and by far the most popular way to interact and meet your fellow guests before your cruise is going to be Facebook groups. Now, I'm sure if you've cruised or traveled before, you've come across hundreds of different cruise groups, but more specifically, you are looking for a roll call group, and that is basically, your ship and the date that you're leaving. So let's say you're leaving on the Carnival Sunshine on June 20th of 2022. You're going to look for exactly that group, Carnival Sunshine, June 20th, 2022. If there's a group that exists, then you can, ask to join it. Usually there's just a couple questions and then you're approved by the admins. Now, if there's a group that doesn't exist for sailing, you can create a group and start inviting, everybody that is on that sailing with you, but that's a whole nother thing. Now, once you get into to the group. This is by far the best way to interact. You know, you can match profiles with photos, figure out, you know, what certain people's likes are, start chatting up with people. But the best thing about Facebook roll call groups is by far the events section. Now, if you have, you know, an active cruise that kind of gets ahead of things, they'll have an events page where, you know, different fellow guests will create certain events, whether it's slot pulls, cigars under the stars, you know, decorating cabins to see who wins, pub crawls, and these are just a few. Usually there's, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 different events. Again, it just depends on, you know, the people that are, you know, you're sailing with and, you know, what they want to do as events. You can also create event if there's something that you really want to do, you know, for people or with people. You can absolutely create an event of your own as well. Now, one thing that was really cool on the Facebook events page on one of our past cruises that I wanted to mention was a Zoom call pretty much weekly, typically on a Friday or Saturday night, with some of the other guests, you know, that you're sailing with. You can join, you can just listen in, but it was really cool to, you know, hop on the Zoom, start talking people, you know, face to face, well, not face to face, but through, you know, online, but you get to see and interact with them. And once we got on the cruise, you know, it just felt like, you know, we had been friends for, you know, years, because we had already been talking for so many months before the cruise. So that is another great way that I highly recommend. I don't see a lot of the Facebook groups doing this at this point, but I think that more and more people will, you know, as time moves on. So it's a really great idea. If you're an admin for a Facebook cruise group, definitely highly recommend doing this event. It really just kind of gets everybody even more excited. Again, meeting people before the cruise, and that is what it's all about. We always say one of the best things about cruising is, you know, everybody starts the journey together and ends the journey together, but every cruise is absolutely different from family to family. And if you can start meeting people early, that's what it's all about. So hopefully, you know, these give you some ideas on how to interact with your fellow guests before your cruise. Now, these are just some of the ways that we know. If you know another way to interact with people before your cruise, absolutely put it in the comment section below. I want to hear all about it, because I would really be interested in, you know, obviously interacting on that website, app, or whatever it is that you're doing. Hopefully we'll see you right back here in the next video or on a cruise ship one day. Catch you later.